Hi everyone, it's Colin from the Heal Green Heritage Society again. Today we're going to have a look at the Wickes Museum. I say Wickes because that's the tool it's recorded in. So without further ado, let me share my screen with you again, and then we can have a look round. I'll just move you down to the bottom corner, so a bit more out of the way, and I can see what I'm doing. So we're starting again from the Facebook page, but we're going into the museum today instead. So I'm going to click on About again, which opens up this little panel. You've got the choice with the museum and the library in here. Click this time on Museum and open the museum page. I'm not really going to show you content in the pages. They might change a little bit. I mean, one of the things I'm going to do in this top menu is probably include these help menu, so you can access these videos from within the museum as well. This is the museum anyway. And these are the pictures scrolling around here. You can see the sort of then and now shots I put at the start. Took a while to line all those up. Anyway, just going to show you the navigation really, rather than look in any great detail at the content. But so the first thing is this menu bar at the top. You want to jump back to anywhere else, you click on either the Facebook symbol there in the corner, or you can go to the library by clicking on that one. As you see, when I hover over it, it changes color to the green. When you hover over a menu option with more than one option, you get a list below it. These are sub-menus. So there's a selection of articles that we've written so far in Heal Green. The plan is there'll be 60, 70 articles on the key places of interest around Heal Green. Please, welcome to leave in the comments any suggestions for places to do. But as I say, we've already got a list of about 60 or 70 that people have suggested we do. It's just we haven't got enough hours in the day to do them all straight away. So we've started off and tried to go around. Just it's fairly random, but we're trying to spread them out around Heal Green, so everyone's something near them. Those articles are in Heal Green. These are ones about places near Heal Green. We're trying not to reproduce history that you can find anywhere else. So it tends to be history that's specific to Heal Green and how it impacted us. A good example of that is Manchester Airport. There are lots of lovely airport websites and lists of photographs that you can go and look at about the history of the airport. So what we've concentrated on is the history that's relevant to us, how it's impacted Heal Green with noise insulation grants or air quality, or just the enjoyment of going and having a look at the planes at the airport. So anyway, back to the menus. Then we've got a section for places that have now gone, sadly. So we've got Bradshaw Hall and Old Hall Farms in there at the moment. A few more to come, unfortunately, and I probably looks like I've got to add the beech tree into that list and take it out of the places in Heal Green to look at. Talked about the library. This links page is very useful. I'll just open that up and show you. We're actually a sister society to a number of others in the Cheadle and Gatley area. There's a Cheadle heritage site, a Cheadle Hume one, a Gatley one, and sort of umbrella of the Cheadle Civic Society. A gentleman called Andrew Fraser who's involved with that, and it's under his auspices that the Facebook site for Heal Green set up. So please join up with those as well, because you're bound to know places and recognise places in their sort of photo sets and the history of the places they've got. To be fair, they have a lot more history than we do in Heal Green, because we didn't get a station until 1909. They've got lots more they can talk about in those areas, so that's very interesting. One thing I did want to show you very quickly are these slider maps, which you can access from in here. You can usually, sometimes it says Archie Information Systems, which is where they're actually from. There are lots of these about, but I particularly like this one, and I've used it a lot on the website because of the way, well, I'll show you when we open it up. So let's click on it. So you get this, it's rather a distant map. You probably can't see very much to read on the screen at the moment. I'll zoom in a little bit if I can. Okay, there we go. And it's zoomed in around Brookhouse and Brookside, which you may or may not know, depending if you're familiar with the history of Heal Green. This is Finney Lane. This is the end of Atwood Road. If I click on this little slider bar at the top here and move it across to the left, it slides from an old map, which was somewhere in the sort of late 1800s, to one of today, well, 2020 anyway. And so you can compare the images, so you can look all over the country. It's not just in Heal Green, where I've got it focused on Heal Green to make it easy for you. So for example, there's Old Hall Farm, the playing fields, You can see them sort of overlaid on one another, and that's where the village hall is now on that map. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that because that's such an interesting thing to look at. You can go and find your own avenue on there and see what field or pond you were submerged under in times gone by. There's some other links in here, which I won't go into now. This might get moved under the help. I might put it under the help menu there, and then I have the links as a separate thing under that. Okay, so that's that top level menu. Just hover over it, opens up a sub menu, and you can click on the article that you want. So let's just randomly pick an article. Old Hall Farm, last updated in June. Sometimes we update things as we find out some new facts, a few more photos. Remember, these aren't all the photos that we have. This is just a selection of them to illustrate the article. All the documents and photos that you look at when you click on a thing in here, actually, now you've seen the other video, you know that we're actually going and looking in the library and looking up the photo from there. So it's just a sort of little window on the library really, but it's nicely presented and you've got some words around it in these articles. The other thing is under each of them, if there's a different copyright holder, so in this case, this was from the Frank Mitchell's archive, I try and put a link in, either a shout out to whoever the organisation was, or some appropriate link. In this case, St James Church own Frank Mitchell's archive now, and they very kindly let us reproduce it here. But I'll put a link into their history page as well, because that's an interesting read. There are some articles about the parades of shops, and generally, you know, if you give us a photo, I'll put a link into their website as well, just so you can go and have a look at how they are today. One of the things that I will be doing is taking copies of their website front pages just to sort of preserve them in time. It's a bit like recording an advert out of a newspaper. Okay, so that's what an article looks like. If you go to the bottom of a page, there's another menu which is very similar to the one at the top, just presents it in a slightly different way. When you hover over that, you can see this list of articles pops up, and then you can just, you just click on which one you want. To Bradshaw Hall, just an example. Okay. So opens up some more articles. Now, there is another way to navigate around the site. This is particularly useful on a tablet, or not quite as good on a phone because it's a bit small to see it on a phone, but it's easier to navigate with this rather than on a PC. But it's still useful on the PC as well. So this looks terribly small, I know, apologies for that. It's a very high resolution map of Heal Green and the surrounding area. And the reason for that is then I can drop these little location marks over the map. At each of these locations, we've got at least one article. And as time goes by, we're going to build up so many articles that those menus might get a bit clunky. So it might be easier to go in through here. So what you do is go and hover over one of these, a little window opens up. That was Bradshaw Hall that we looked at before. And these left and right bars here, you can click between the different articles in the list. So that one says explore the history of Bradshaw Hall, click on view, and you've gone into that article. Close that out. Now, there's more than one thing on that list. It does scroll around automatically if you leave it for a few seconds, but I'll just push it on just to show you there again. Yeah, so that second one, when it says more, it's usually pointed, it says find more on Bradshaw Hall in the library. So what that does is route you to the little folder on Bradshaw Hall in the library. And those are all the pictures that we've got on Bradshaw Hall, for example. Then you can come back. So that's how you can use this hover map, as it's called, and you can zoom in on it. I won't zoom in now, but you can zoom in, and it's very detailed. You can read the street names honestly if you zoom in, but it makes it a little bit more awkward to navigate around. But if you know roughly where you're looking for something in Heal Green, you'll know that's Chamber Farm anyway, and you'll be able to go to look at Chamber Hall Farm just by clicking on view, and off you go. It's just another way of looking at the map, and it shows you where we've got articles at the moment. I had to sort of put Manchester Airport in the wrong place because it was off the side of the page, but pushed it over that way. So as time goes by, we hope to build up a few more articles. So we obviously need to do something down here for Nixon's Farm or Robinson's Farm or Bolshaw. We haven't got anything down that end of the world at the moment, so we need to do funeral well there somehow. Okay, so that's how you navigate around on Wix. By the way, the other thing to say is all these resources are free, and in 99% of the cases, as long as you haven't got a very, very old desktop or laptop or a phone, you should be able to access them on virtually any phone or tablet, which is why I've chosen to use this software. It doesn't require you to install any more software. to access the museum or the library. There are some video links in here. We're not storing the videos on in the museum or the library. That is a sort of fourth thing, I suppose. We've got a little YouTube channel as well. So you might get, I'm afraid, you might get an advert in front of it, but it at least means it's free. So there we go. That's everything for today, and I'll be back with you soon. So bye for now.